And you posted something months ago, and it was one of your simplicity steps, and it was do a small load of laundry per day. Now, this was like light bulb moment for me, okay? Because Emily, I have a tendency to wait until I have a full load. Well, if I don't have a full load, then it's like I need more to justify doing a load of laundry, right? Well, I always miss that perfect threshold of a full load. And we go into laundry mountain territory where now I have like 17 hampers. Well, then it's too overwhelming. Yeah, then it's too overwhelming. Like, I can't face it. I can't face it. So laundry mountain keeps growing. So I started doing this. So every day I do a small load of laundry. And laundry mountain does not haunt me anymore because you just stay in front of it. But it's those simple changes where you're going, don't wait until it has to be a full dishwasher or a full load. Do a little bit every day, and then it never gets to the overwhelming point. And I think for some women, like you said, it's very tactical, but it's that simple mindset shift where you're going, well, that changed an area of my life that was overwhelming, that I consistently let get to that point, and now I don't, you know? And I love that. I love how practical that is, you know?
Yeah, totally. And that little by little every morning, I mean, it's like you said, it's the snowball effect that you think it's just so tactical, like how is this laundry situation gonna change my life? But you do that in your laundry situation, and then you do that with your kids and all of the extracurriculars they're committed to, and then you do that with your closet. I love that you mentioned the closet because like, there is deep emotional baggage in our closet. Like the jeans that I wore pre-twin pregnancy, seriously. Like I need to like sit on the floor and like hold the jeans and say goodbye to them because they're not comfortable and they make me feel awful when I put them on. So goodbye. But yeah, all of those things just add up. They add up in such a big way.
Yeah, I love that. You know, one of the things that I've noticed in women I work with business, and we're talking all about simplicity in this episode. I've been teaching about simplicity in business. You teach simplicity in life. I've noticed there are certain kind of buckets that I help women when it comes to business. There's the money, there's the marketing and selling, there's the plan, there's time management, all these things. Do you have that for women you work with when it comes to simplifying your life? Are there these like main buckets or areas that it's like, okay, let's get these main areas under control? Do you kind of have those that you coach women through?
Yeah, you know, my second book is called A Simplified Life, Tactical Tools for Intentional Living, and it's 10 chapters, 10 like really big areas of life that either are obvious that we can declutter and simplify and like make easier, or some that are not so obvious. So things like finances, meal planning. Oh my goodness, it's the bane of my existence.
Yes.
My kids want to eat 3 times a day. And it's like, I'm like, you just ate.
Fend for yourself already.
Seriously. The meal planning is like my hardest area, but all kinds of things. We even talk about faith and motherhood and things that aren't so obvious. So like putting routines and rhythms in place for those particular areas, they make such a difference, not just for us, but for our families as well. And for me, I mean, I work from home, which is both a blessing and awful. It bleeds into my business as well. And so, like you said, there's so many ways that you can simplify different areas of your life that it's the snowball. It bleeds into everything else.
Okay, so what are some of your like tactical steps for simplifying life and business when they do overlap? Because we have a lot of women in Business Boutique that work from home like you do. So from your experience, what are some areas that you can organize, separate, integrate? Like, how do you do it when those are always overlapping at home?
Oh man, it's so hard. How long do you have? I need like 6 hours.
6 hours? Okay, we can do 6 hours. It's a new episode.
I mean, a new episode, like 4 new episodes. You know, that has been one of the hardest life lessons for me. I love my job. Like I love it so deeply and I believe in it and I feel so called to it. And I love my job as a mom and a wife. And I feel like it was why I was put on this earth to raise these precious kids. And so it's hard because I love it all. And I want to do it all. And I want to do it at the same time. And I'm like the perfect multitasker. I'm really organized, but it's impossible. And so I have had to learn, kind of like I said earlier, you have to turn it off. For me, at least, I have to turn off work. And I have to turn off like the being available all the time with family. I have to accept help. My husband steps in a lot and thank goodness, he's wonderful. That's been hard for me, but what it's enabled me to do, kind of that struggle, is to set serious boundaries. So I set boundaries with work, I set boundaries with family stuff, I have specific work times, I have office hours, I have to say no to a lot of things because they are my first and foremost priority. They also know, like, this is when mom's working and it's work time, and they understand, I think, to some degree, you know, mom works and dad works, and this is, you know, how we support our family and all of those things. So with business particularly, I've had to just have a really organized system and, you know, have expectations about what I can get done every day and what I can't. And to that degree, I have to say no to things a lot of times, and that's hard. We've said no to a lot of big things in business simply because it didn't meet that core goal for me of having flexibility as a mom, which was the whole reason I started it in the first place.
Right. Does it come down to schedule for you? Like when you say like having a really organized system, are you talking about like just at the end of the day, you're managing the calendar, like what you're doing where in what time frames? Is it that tactical and simple?
Yes, I think if a camera followed me around every day and saw like how I had to divide my time, it would be laughable. I mean, sometimes I stop and think like, how much longer are we going to do life like this? It's so hard, but it's a season. I have, you know, my kids are tiny. They're actually at camp right now. They're just in camp for the morning. But, you know, I'll work here for 3 hours and get as much done as I possibly can. I have to literally turn my phone on Do Not Disturb. I have to have, you know, everything in the house, like, taken care of and over there. But yeah, I just have to have specific boundaries and scheduling and knowing like what I can do and what I can't do. And also like having a planning system or, you know, if you use iCal or a planner or whatever, having one place to keep everything has just helped a lot, you know, to kind of separate the two.
I love how you're talking so much about boundaries and saying no. And that's one of those things that I speak on all the time because I'm not good at it. So it's like it's my source of talking myself into it while also encouraging other people. But I think there's such an important lesson there because to your point, as women, there are so many things we need to do, so many things we want to do, so many things we love to do, so many things other people want us to do, but you can't. And if you're not, if you don't have the muscle, the skill, the confidence to say no and set boundaries, then you're going to live your life running ragged and resentful, like we talked about even in the beginning. And if you can say no, if you can practice that skill and strengthen that muscle, you know, I always say saying no is a muscle. If you never use it, it's weak at first, and that's okay. But the more you do it, the easier it becomes, and you become more confident, and you feel more powerful. You actually enjoy it. Like, hey, I get a say in my own life. Imagine that. But
totally agree. And you start to develop discernment of like, here's my standard or here's my core. You know, for me, I started this business 10 years ago to have flexibility as a mom. Like, that was it. I just wanted to leave my corporate job. I worked in university advancement and fundraising, and I wanted to do something creative that I really believed in and have the flexibility to like go be room mom or like volunteer here or there or be involved in our church. And I have to check myself because I get to that place. You know, 2016, I was on 48 airplanes. By the way, I hate flying. But I was on 48 airplanes, and I had 1-year-old twins and a 4-year-old. And it was like, I looked back at the end of the year and thought, what in the world is that? Like, what, you did not have fun. You missed so much at home. Like, that's not why you started this. You got to reevaluate, and something's got to go. And at that point, I sat down and I took a big poster board. And my husband always laughs when he sees the poster board come out because he's like, here she goes. But I get a big poster board and a Sharpie, and I just start writing down all the things I'm committed to and involved in and saying yes to. And then I start crossing them out. Like, what can I say no to? Just because we're good at it. And I think as type A entrepreneurial women, we're good at a lot of things. And over the years, we grow even better and, you know, good for other things. And we start to find ways that we can make a difference and make change and progress and all of this. And before you know it, you've said yes to 100 things because you're making money at it, because it's a good cause, because it's good for other people. And I was in this place where I was able to look back and think, okay, that's wonderful. These 4 people in my house are suffering because of it. And that's hard for me to admit. But I literally feel like one day just was like praying very sad tears and just saying like, God, I just need you to just tell me something to do with this. And I literally felt the words, back inside the 4 walls of your house. And I was like, all right. And we cut our wholesale program. We cut 40% of our revenue. And it was so hard. And my team was part of the decision. We were able to keep our whole team. My husband was super involved in the decision. And we were like, we know this company will grow if we start getting back to why we started in the first place. So we cut our wholesale program, 800 retailers around the world, and last year we grew by 30% over that.
Yeah. Unbelievable.
Amen.
But it was such a counterintuitive decision that you made that it was the right decision. And I think that example is a perfect example for women listening that are going, the only way to get there is to work harder, work more, drive faster, run faster, that type of thing. And like you're saying, you got off track. And I would say that, you know, as I can tend to err on the side of being a workaholic. I'm so goal oriented. I'm so focused that I get off track, but it's not on purpose. It's because I'm just so excited and focused on this thing. It's not that I don't love my children. But to your point, if you look up and you realize this is not why I started, this is not what it was going to look like. You know, for me, and even a lot of the women that I'm sure you work with and I work with, like you said, we're good at a lot of things. We're kind of like the Bible says, a 10-talent chick. Like we've got a lot of talents that we can use, and a lot of people need us. My decision-making paradigm used to be a few years ago, do they need me and can I do it? And that's all I asked myself. Do they need me? Which was always yes. And can I do it? Can I physically fit this in my calendar somehow?
Yes.
And so I ran myself ragged. And I never asked myself any other questions such as, how will this affect my family? Is this in line with my goals? Does this compete with a higher priority? Do I want to do it? I never asked myself any of those questions, but those questions are the most important questions in what you're doing. And just because you can do something does not mean that you should. And that reminder for you, for me, for the women listening, I think is such a vital one as we're trying to chase this dream and also raise a family and keep our priorities in check at the same time, which is hard, which is obviously,
so hard.
Admittedly, very, very hard to do, especially when you know, you're making a decision like you made that seems wrong at the time, but is ultimately right in both areas.
Totally agree.
Emily, I would love it if you would tell me a little bit about, I asked you this a minute ago, but what's coming down the pike for you? What are you excited about? What's next? What are you working on? Obviously, you're going to be speaking at our Business Boutique event coming up in November, which we're so excited about. But what are some things you kind of have on the calendar coming up?
Well, personally, we are building a house in Pensacola, Florida, our hometown, and we'll be moving back.
Awesome.
And we are so excited to have family around and get back to a smaller town. Oh, we're so excited about that. We are embarking on our 10th year in business.
Awesome. So that's a huge milestone. Congratulations.
Yes. Thank you. It's kind of surreal. It feels like it's been about 40 years. It also feels like one.
Right.
So yeah, we're celebrating our 10th year in business, and we're super excited about that, releasing some new products. We haven't really shared this publicly yet, but we're releasing a teacher lesson planner and a wedding planner next year.
Ooh, awesome.
Yep, excited about those, and I'm starting my 3rd book.
So congratulations. That's a huge one. Just a few small things. Just a few.
Just a couple small things.
Just a couple things. I love it. Well, I know everybody will want to find out more information about all those things. So tell our listeners how they can find you on social media, your website, all that good stuff where they can connect with you.
Absolutely. Our website is emilylay.com, and you can also find us on social media at Emily Lay and also at Simplified.
I love it. Emily, I know you're busy and you're crazy and you have a million things going on, but thanks for taking some time to hang out with us when your kids are at camp and encourage our listeners. We really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to subscribe to my YouTube channel. And if you need help protecting your time and your schedule, I have a free download for you. It's called 25 Ways to Protect Your Time. You can download that at the link below.